It's a big jump from where I was. Good timing. I was from a full low to a full high.
I always believed I could coach a world champion. And the fact that he's fighting for the title now.
Jack Della Maddalena is fully immersed in a demanding training phase, working intensely on his wrestling techniques and overall stamina as he prepares for a possible showdown with Islam Makhachev. However, Islam Dulatov voiced his opinion on the rumored bout between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena. According to him, many predict an effortless victory for Makhachev, but he disagrees with that outlook. Dulatov still backs Makhachev to win, but foresees a challenging contest. He highlighted that while Makhachev holds a sizable frame for the lightweight category, he does not seem particularly imposing at welterweight. In Dulatov's assessment, Della Maddalena might actually carry more bulk and sharper striking tools. However, he acknowledged Makhachev's superiority in grappling exchanges.
I think a lot of people think that it's going to be an easy fight for Islam, but I don't think that it's going to be that easy. I think Islam going to win, but I don't think it's going to be an easy fight for him, like everybody thinks. Because Islam is maybe big for lightweight, but he's not big for welterweight.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's why I would say, like, I don't know, he don't look for me so big.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's just on pictures or whatever, but actually, you know, I think JDM has a lot more of weight than him. But at the end of the day, I think JDM has better striking, and Islam has for sure the better ground game.
Moreover, Dulatov elaborated further, stating that although Makhachev may not appear especially large among welterweights, he remains convinced that Islam has what it takes to prevail. He admitted that the fight will be far from straightforward, but trusts Makhachev's skill set to secure the win. He warned that fans are making the mistake of overlooking Jack Della Maddalena's abilities, emphasizing that his place at the top is well earned. Ultimately, he reiterated that the battle will not come easily, but he is confident in Islam Makhachev's triumph.
If I said you had to choose one fighter to win that one, who would you choose?
Islam.
Really, Islam? You're just saying how he wasn't big enough.
Yeah, but I say he will win this.
Oh, you really?
I say, I think he gonna win this for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, like I'm very sure that he's gonna win this.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be not an easy fight.
Not easy.
You know,
fight.
like because I see in the comments like a lot of people, oh JDM, it's over for you. You know, like people make this guy like very small. You know, and actually, bro, that's a reason why he's there, you know, why he's a champ. So I think it's going to be a tough fight, but Islam going to win for sure.
Meanwhile, Jack Della Maddalena is pushing through a grueling and highly disciplined camp as he readies himself for a potential meeting with Islam Makhachev. His regimen focuses on sharpening his striking, fortifying his takedown resistance, and developing the endurance necessary for a relentless pace inside the cage. Every drill is specifically designed to address the threats that Makhachev poses.
Good movement. Don't ever be there.
Jack is tailoring his sessions to handle Islam's heavy grappling style by owning his takedown counters and staying agile. This includes refining his movement, timing his defensive reactions, and learning to recover quickly if taken down. He is also upgrading his boxing to keep the contest standing, while conditioning himself to deal with constant forward pressure from Makhachev. Renato Moicano expressed that the fight between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena should be regarded as a balanced pairing. He acknowledged Islam's outstanding grappling ability, but pointed out that transitioning to welterweight comes with its own obstacles, such as contending with stronger, heavier athletes and adapting his frame for the heavier and higher division.
So, Islam versus JDM.
I think they probably should be even, you know, because even though Islam is a good grappler, he's big for 155. He's moving to 170. We never know, you know. I think he needs to take some time to work on to gain weight, to gain power, you know, to gain strength. So that's why the odds are even, and I think they should be even.
Luke Rockhold commented that the matchup featuring Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena would deliver both difficulty and excitement. He named Islam, Topuria, and JDM as the 3 UFC fighters he currently enjoys watching the most. Rockhold commented Jack's action-packed performances and capable wrestling, yet emphasized Islam's lifelong background in grappling. He also discussed the size factor, noting that JDM carries a natural size edge, while Islam seems to have increased his mass, making the encounter all the more compelling.
It's a tough fight. That's a very tough fight. It's going to be interesting. You know, I think those are my three favorite fighters in the UFC right now. We go Islam, Topuria, and JDM. He's fun to watch. So, I mean, that's going to be a great fight. You know, he's no slouch at wrestling, but you have a guy that's wrestled his whole life and grappled his whole life versus JDM, who's kind of like, he's secondary on that, but, you know, you never know. He's a bigger guy. So, you know, we'll see how Islam, how he bulks up and how he looks. He looks a lot bigger than what I remember. I used to train with him forever. So, I mean, he's definitely grown. You know, we'll see how he carries the weight.
Navajo Sterling predicted the fight leaning heavily toward Jack's side. He claimed Jack's length, size, and striking skills would create major problems for Islam, preventing him from closing distance or setting up successful takedowns, thereby removing many of his usual strengths.
You picked JDM to win. Now he's got a big challenge in his first title defense against Islam. Do you think he's got what it takes to beat an Islam Makhachev in his first defense?
People are going to say it's a wild take, but I reckon JDM smokes Islam, shins him so bad. It's going to be so bad that the Topuria Islam thing will just be gone.
So you think Islam's wrestling won't be a threat to JDM just because he's a lot bigger?
He's a lot bigger, and like when you watch JDM, like you put him on the end of mid-range, he's just going to throw. It's hard to like shoot in on. He's not going to be able to just abuse his size against him either. I think Islam's in for a rude awakening.
Luke Thomas analyzed Jack's most recent outing, commending his stand-up game, but identifying lapses in his defensive reactions and grappling choices. He warned that such errors could prove decisive against an opponent as calculated and technically sound as Islam.
The striking prowess of JDM, if he could just have enough time to get it going, would be enough. I think Muhammad somewhat overperformed relative to expectations, but in the end, JDM was better. But the defensive lapses, to me, I know we have to focus on like how good JDM is as a striker, but what could have cost him here was the incompleteness of his defense. And to me, he took a quantum leap forward today in showing how good that was. Now, again, trying to turn that defense into offense by trying to go for some of those ill-advised takedowns, especially in the fifth, and then you're getting kind of lateral dropped for it. You do that against Islam, and I think that's a huge mistake. Islam just doesn't make a lot of mistakes, right? He doesn't necessarily have, at times, always the flashiest offense. I mean, he does have very good offense. We're talking about the pound-for-pound number one guy in the sport. But what really defines him is that he makes very, very good decisions.
Thomas also showed enthusiasm for Islam's rise to welterweight, seeing it as a chance to join the exclusive ranks of two division champions. He admitted that shift carries inherent risks, but pointed to the enormous legacy reward awaiting Islam if he succeeds.
Islam up at 170 to me is exciting. I know what everyone's going to say. Oh my God, the best fight you could have made in MMA was Ilya versus Islam. I'm not denying it. I'm not in any way asking you to feel differently about what was the best fight that could be made. But here's what I am trying to tell you. Islam up at 170 could be something really special. It could fizzle too, but I'm trying to point out the positives. It could be really special. For him to become a double champ could be a very big deal.
Alexander Volkanovski reviewed the potential clash between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev, saying that Jack's fight with Belal Muhammad was an ideal warm-up. He believes Jack's success in stopping Belal's takedowns has boosted his confidence and elevated his defensive tools. Volkanovski feels that even top-tier wrestlers will struggle to drag Jack to the mat or keep him there.
Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena. How do you think those two match up?
I think Jack's fight against Belal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stop and takedowns, because again, every fighter still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. You know, I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, like, you know, worried about, you know, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, like, I guarantee you if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. You know, only the top guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
George Masvidal also weighed in, leaning towards Islam Makhachev as the likely winner against Jack Della Maddalena. He complimented Jack's striking and wrestling defense displayed in the Muhammad fight, but rated Islam's wrestling at a higher level. Masvidal remarked that Jack starts strong with his punches, but Islam's pace and mat control should wear him down as the rounds unfold.
I've seen Islam, bro. He's a big guy. He's sucking out a lot of weight to get to 55. I think he might start doing better at 70. Problem is though, Jack is special. We're gonna see just how special he is if he beats Islam Jack, #1 pound for, wow, that's impressive, you know. I'm leaning towards Islam, brother.
Oh, really?
You know, but I really think it's gonna be a tough fight for him, but a great fight, man.
Jack was able to defend takedown attempts by Bilal.
Bilal has the best cardio in MMA, but Bilal doesn't have Islam's technique. Not same technique. Not same. Very good, very aggressive. Bilal never stops. A dog. Attack. But Islam is like smart, man. Boom. You know, Islam's level of wrestling is above. His stand-up game is improving. I don't think he could go stand-up in the beginning with Jack. Jack has way better hands, way better range, faster, stronger. But as the rounds go on later and later, he could do.
Ilia Topuria provided strategic insight for Jack, recommending a focus on body attacks with straight punches to hinder Islam's takedown attempts and discourage his entries. He highlighted how effective body work can be against a wrestler's game plan. Topuria also praised Jack's striking, saying he enjoys his style and that such an approach could improve Jack's odds.
Have any advice for Jack, who might be coming up against Islam Makhachev next?
The advice, like, he has to work the straight body shots, because that takes away the intentions of the takedown. If he works with the straight body shots, he's gonna stop his intentions of the takedowns. And he's doing a great job in the striking. I like how he fights.
Philip Rowe stated his belief that Jack would come out victorious over Islam. He argued that Islam lacks the natural size for the welterweight class and predicted Jack would stand back up from takedowns, impose his physicality, and eventually finish the fight.
Philip Rowe, what's cracking, man?
Chilling.
Hey, now listen, you're welterweight, you've been in the game a long time. Islam moving up to 170. Is he big enough for 170?
My personal opinion, I don't think he is, but he's a champ. We'll see when he's there. You know what I'm saying? He has a fight. He's fighting the champ. That's the best 170 in the world right now, right? So we'll see.
So you don't think he has the size, but how do you think he does in the fight versus JDM?
I personally think JDM beats him. I think JDM will be able to get up if he does take him down. I don't think he'll be able to take JDM shots. I think personally he'll stop Islam.
Dustin Poirier voiced his perspective, explaining that the outcome hinges on the opening rounds, and if Islam secures early control on the ground, Poirier expects him to win. But if Jack manages to stuff those attempts, his precise boxing and physical edge could seriously threaten Islam. Poirier also mentioned that while Islam's stand-up looks unorthodox, it works effectively because opponents hesitate to commit offensively under the looming threat of a takedown.
Do you think he beats Jack Della Maddalena?
I think we'll find out first, second round how much trouble he has getting him down. I think if he gets those takedowns, he's going to get the win. If Jack can stop those takedowns, which he does have good takedown defense, I think the boxing and the size could wear on Islam and give him some problems. But his striking's, awkward and different. You have to worry so much about the takedown. You can't plant your feet and throw off those number combinations and really rip and sit on your punches, because he's going to change levels. So it changes the way you fight. Well, for me, it did. I'm speaking from experience. So we'll see how Jack approaches and how Jack executes out there. But if you're worried about takedowns, your shots are different. You're not sitting on everything and standing in front of the guy. You're trying to move and be light on your feet. I think the first 2 rounds will tell us how this fight's going to go.
Charles Oliveira described Jack as dangerous due to his methodical approach, wearing foes down gradually rather than forcing quick finishes, as he demonstrated against Belal Muhammad. He expects Islam to adapt well to welterweight, citing his added power and grappling superiority. Oliveira sees the match as a test of whether Jack can keep it upright or Islam can impose his wrestling.
O que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam?
Maddalena, ele é um jogo muito complicado, porque ele é um cara que ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem pra te finalizar, ele vem te magoando, né?
Aos poucos, né?
Aos poucos. Foi o que ele fez agora na luta contra o Bilal. Só que eu acho que o Isa vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é um jogo que, gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né? Agora contra o Bilal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta, mas se deixar o Isla agarrar e botar pra baixo é o time.
Robert Whittaker acknowledged the difficulty in forecasting Islam's form at welterweight, as moving divisions introduces new unknowns. He pointed out that both physical dynamics and strategic requirements shift in a higher class, but affirmed his belief in Islam's skill level, saying he can replicate or surpass what Bilal Muhammad offers.
Definitely, but like I said, it is hard to try to get like an accurate gauge on what it's going to look like, not knowing how Islam is going to look when he moves up. Okay, it's always the question everybody asks when anybody is moving up a weight division or down a weight division. Okay, there's so many unknowns involved. But saying that, I think that Islam can do everything that Bilal does, but way better. Okay, way better.
Gilbert Burns supported the idea of Islam competing at 170 pounds, saying the weight suits him better than enduring harsh cuts at lightweight. Burns lauded Islam as the pound-for-pound #1, but cautioned that the matchup might be tighter than people think. He highlighted Jack's training with high-level names like Alexander Volkanovski and Craig Jones as adding to his threat factor. Burns foresees a competitive contest.
Islam is working very hard. He's been saying vocal that he wants to go up to 170. I think he's a big boy. He killed himself to make 55. I think that's the right division for Islam. He just tweeted something after the fight that he will not vacate the title, and then he vacated the title. I don't know, but probably that was in the negotiation. Yeah, I like him moving up. I proving himself. He's #1 pound for pound right now. It's a good fight. Jack and Islam closer than people think, especially with Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of back the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're going to have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much in that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think. And JDM has a clear shot on beating.
Henry Cejudo predicted Islam Makhachev would ultimately succeed and claim a second championship, describing it as the logical progression in his career. On the other hand, Kamaru Usman favored Jack Della Maddalena, applauding his poise under fire and confidence in keeping his belt. Both anticipated that the bout will likely take place in Abu Dhabi this October.
I think Islam Makhachev is going to beat him. I think he's going to become the 11th double champ in UFC history.
Islam tweeted, "Keep it shiny, keep it nice for me." JDM, I mean, it was kind of like the perfect comeback. He was just like, yeah, come get it.
Keep my belt clean. Okay, so the fucking has begun, dude. That fight is set. That fight's going to take place in October, Abu Dhabi. I think we all know that. We're no longer going to get Ilya versus Islam Makhachev just now.
Chael Sonnen questioned whether Islam Makhachev would remain at welterweight and pursue a title shot if he loses to Jack Della Maddalena, or if he would return to 155 pounds. He cited examples like Ilia Topuria and Makhachev to emphasize that, ultimately, fighters prioritize capturing championships, which he called the primary objective in the sport.
If he loses to Jack, does he get right back in the mix at 170? It works his way back to that title shot. Is that what he does, or does he cut his weight back down to 155 pounds? Whether it was Ilya, what he's going through now, what it is Islam and the announcement that we just got, what I'm attempting to prove to you is there is nothing in this sport that matters more to the fighters than the weight.
John Wood called the potential contest between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev highly intriguing. He observed that Jack's clash with Bilal Muhammad offered valuable practice against a similar opponent style, though Islam executes it at a far more advanced level. Wood stated that the fight will be fascinating if Jack keeps developing and stays mentally strong. He gives Jack an edge in striking, but considers his takedown defense the deciding factor.
I like it. I think that's a great fight. I feel like if Jack can keep building upon what he did in his, in against Bilal, I mean, he's seen that style now from a champion, and it's very similar to what Islam's going to do. I think Islam does it a little bit better. So as long as Jack is improving and getting better and his confidence is there, it's very interesting. I feel like on the feet, I think Jack's got him on the feet. It's just that obviously if that takedown defense can hold up, that's the thing.
Wood also remarked that it's difficult to pick against Islam right now, comparing him to Kamaru Usman during his peak reign. He noted some openings in Islam's approach and takedown entries that Jack might exploit, but until someone consistently counters him, Islam remains a dominant grappler.
With Islam, obviously everybody is like, it's one of those things where you can't bet against Islam at this point in time until you see a chink in the armor. It's like betting against Morocco. You can do it. It's not a smart bet. But until someone figures out that puzzle, I don't know. Islam is a different kind of cat on the ground, you know, and his striking is not bad. You know, he's going to come at you and get you to strike and eventually, you know, take a shot. There are some holes in his game and holes in the entries and you know, obviously, you know, being Team Khabib, there are definitely some things that you can expose to get that win. And if Jack figures that out, I think it'd be the long night for Islam. But again, I wouldn't bet against Islam until I see somebody kind of break that code.
Jack Hermanson said, gauging fighters across divisions is always tricky. He stated that Islam Makhachev appears nearly unbeatable at lightweight and might be the best pound for pound. While uncertain if Islam can keep that same dominance at welterweight, he still leans toward him. He also acknowledged Jack Della Maddalena's strong display against Belal Muhammad, but suggested Jack requires more high-level bouts before his true ceiling can be measured.
Yeah, it's so hard because you never know when people are changing weight classes. But in lightweight, you know, Islam looks like unbeatable. It's just like maybe, you know, maybe the pound for pound best. He's just so insanely good. But can he do it in a weight class above? I'm not sure. Really, really hard to predict a fight like that. I think I still have to say Islam.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, we need to see a few more fights with Jack. It looked amazing against Bilal, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's something about Islam is just so good.
That's it for today's video. So what are your thoughts on this fight? What do you think about their matchup? Would love to hear your thoughts on this clash, so share your thoughts in the comment section, and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. Also, check out our other latest videos on the screen right now.